Did they add anyone in the off season really?
Um,
You know, Josh. I guess. I'm trying
yeah,
to think of anyone.
we had Terence Davis, the second undrafted rookie, come in, and he's played some really good minutes. Rondé Hollis Jefferson as well has come in.
Yeah,
It's a belting name, that as well, isn't it?
just like
It's a
role
hell of a
play,
name.
some more role players, I guess. But I mean, losing Kawhi, and they basically, they've
We,
just not
we lost
replaced him to any degree, really, apart from they've got some more
we
depth on
lost
the bench, which is sort of their thing. Oh yeah, and Danny
we
Green.
lost Danny Green, which
Yeah.
was a big loss as well, which people overlook. I think. I mean, obviously Kawhi gets all the headlines, and rightly so, but Danny Green's a solid, good for spacing with his 3-point shooting, and he's a decent defender.
I think a
One
lot of
player
credit
that
goes
did
to
get
Nick
that.
Nurse, really.
I agree, but I think it's also OG and Anunoby's like effectively. I mean, he wasn't there for the playoffs last year, and
Yeah.
he's now playing. Well, he's taken the step forward, I guess, that people thought he would take last year.
I mean, he could easily get votes for most improved player. As could
Yeah,
Siakam, actually, but whilst we're on the subject.
yeah, yeah. It's an incredibly deep roster. I guess there is a case to be made that the roster's almost too deep to be of benefit in the playoffs, perhaps. That you don't need 10 good players when it gets to the playoffs.
True. I think last season we managed to get through the basic of the playoffs with just 8 players.
Mm, yeah. So other teams' lack of depth will then hurt them less, which I guess in turn sort of impacts the Raptors. But they're going to be, again, it's weird for a team that's in the 2 spot. You feel a bit like, who are they going to be favourites in the series against? I don't know. I feel like if you have one of these like media polls on who's going to win this series, Raptors against a lot of the other top 6, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting overlooked again. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, we did that last year. Maybe
that's
we should
fine by
learn from
me.
those mistakes. Yeah,
Yeah. Siakam, as you said about most improved player, he's also taken a step forward. Is that even though they've lost Kawhi, who was like their big superstar, Siakam is one of those players now. He's one of those. He's going to be one of those perennial all-stars now,
yeah,
averaging whatever it is, like 20 odd points a game now. Um, so they've sort of replaced him with Siakam, and then I guess OG Anunoby's come in as another lockdown defender.
Yeah,
Siakam was doing
that's
in the
definitely
past.
fair.
Yeah, so
Definitely fair.
they've
So
still
if we,
got the firepower as well. Just because people overlook the fact that Siakam's improved so much, I think. Um,
yeah, I agree. I think if so, we've got the Bucks at like 70% to get to the NBA Finals, and then we think there's 2 teams who fill up the remaining 30%. I guess if we think
yeah,
they're the only 2 that
yeah,
can
I
beat the
guess so.
Bucks.
So we likes of Boston, no chance of getting to the finals.
It does seem that's the conclusion we've got to
Yeah.
somehow.
So
Unless,
I wouldn't write Boston off at all. I mean, like I said earlier, this is playoffs, so they're all good teams. But for me, I could see Boston getting to the finals.
it does feel like someone else. I guess what I just said actually was a bit stupid. So Toronto or Philly need to knock out Milwaukee,
Yeah,
and then Boston need to beat whoever beats Milwaukee.
Yeah, I guess
I think
that could
that's probably
happen.
right. Yeah,
Because the 76ers will come up against the Bucks before the Celtics,
Not as it stands.
won't they?
No, the Sixers face the Celtics, don't they? As it stands,
Oh, right, yeah,
first
okay, yeah,
round.
good point.
So, I mean, that's going to be if it does finish like that, it's going to be a hell of a series. That is going to be so much fun. There's that potentially. There could also be Chris Paul against James Harden and the Rockets on the other side. And on Dallas 7th at the moment, so we could have Luka against Kawhi in the first round.
yeah.
I mean, that would be a giggle.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Doncic performs in the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
obviously his next step up, isn't it? I mean, he's blitzed everything at the moment. Was he still only 19, isn't he? He's 19 or 20.
Yeah. I have to look that up. He's 19 or 20. 21. He's getting on a bit.
That's all. It's just we'll throw him on the pile then, shall we?
Yeah, he's finished. You're finished, Luca. Take a EuroLeague MVP. I mean, it's just incredible. The strength in the league I say at the moment, I think it's just gonna continue because the league has got so global. There's so many of the up and coming and top players overseas. There's just this immense pool of talent, and we're talking about like whether Zion or Ja make it into the playoffs. There's a lot of very, very good players. Those two are obviously going to be superstar talents for like 10 years, hopefully. It just feels like the return of the NBA, while I don't necessarily understand why they've gone 22 teams, they could have gone fewer, I think. It is going to be basically incredible. There's just going to be games that matter from the start. Like Joe said earlier on, we've not got that like messing about bit really, where you just sort of kind of jostling for seeding, but also a lot of people just getting injured. Hopefully we don't have a lot of injuries.
Well, you run the risk, obviously, if obviously players contracting the coronavirus. I mean, it will be quite devastating if someone like Zion or Morant or LeBron or Giannis get COVID-19 and have to sit out a whole series.
Yeah,
that's one thing that could ruin it. I think really is that
that's another equation, isn't it? I mean, what happens if Giannis gets the virus in the first game of the series?
Yeah.
I mean, do you suddenly give, I don't know, Orlando Magic a chance against the Bucks then?
Yeah, potentially. Although the Bucks have been so good, I suspect they might still be able to beat them.
Yeah, they'd probably be. In that case, though, I would maybe make any of the other teams currently in the Eastern Conference playoff spots, other than the Magic, a chance against the Bucks. I think.
Probably, maybe not Brooklyn. I think there's also it is going to be one. Someone gets it, they're basically isolated, and everything carries on. Seems to be what they're saying at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, there are also concerns, though, from reporting and various leaks, it seems, rather than anyone specifically coming out and saying it, of quite a lot of players who are apprehensive about going into the bubble, which could put a dampener on the season restarting. I don't know if, as fans, we're being too blindly optimistic about this is the plan, they've said they're going to do it. I don't know if we could yet have where players refuse to go and it causes a big problem. I mean, as you said, they could get the virus and they might not even get there to be able to be in a position where they're being ruled out of games with the virus. You might have, imagine if we had some of these players, the real stars, say they don't want to go. The NBA then is put in a very difficult position.
Yeah, there is still a chance that it doesn't really happen, or at least properly anyway.
I'd like to think that any concerns the players would have had would have been addressed when they had the sort of conference call with Adam Silver a few weeks back. Mm-hmm. So if you've got I know Damian Lillard's been quite vocal about not wanting to play. So I would have thought he would have aired any concerns during that conference call. And they would have been ironed out then.
I would have hoped so. I don't know if what we're going through at the moment is just a process of when they're negotiating the finer details, that you've got people trying to get leverage in some way or what. I'm not sure. But I'm slightly wary that until they're actually playing basketball again, and even then it could stop. I mean, if and obviously I hope not, that the virus spreads around the bubble, it could just all get shut down very quickly. Yeah, but at the same time, other sports have been going, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, the Bundesliga has kicked off. It's been going for about 3-4 weeks now, hasn't it? And they're still going as far as I'm aware. I mean, I don't follow that too closely, to be honest. So.
Yeah, but that's been almost without issue. A couple of people, I think, tested positive, but they just sort of get them out of the way, basically, and they've carried on. And then you've got, Spanish and Italian football's back. Premier League's coming back. I didn't know this until a couple of days ago. I don't know when it was actually announced, but MLS is doing the same thing at Disney as well. They're doing a bubble thing in a different part of Disney or something.
What, at the same
At the
time?
same time.
I think so. So yeah, this strange year, strange planet.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
we're gonna
mean,
have to wrap up in a sec, actually, guys. But yeah, go on, Josh. We've got a few minutes.
yeah, I was just going to add to that. Really, I mean, what happens if there's a second big spike in America or just the globe generally? I mean, did the NBA postpone that, or did they carry on until people get it in the sort of bubble? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what to do if that occurs.
I Well, there's been an increase in numbers in Florida over the last couple of weeks, I think. Um, I suspect if that happens when they're in the bubble, they might just carry on because they should
Because
all
they're
be
in the
safe
bubble.
in the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it happens before, for PR reasons as much as anything, I suspect they'd have to stop. I mean, if you had lockdown being reinstated in states in America, I guess the NBA don't want to be the ones that are then all jetting off to Disneyland and carrying on playing.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
could all become quite farcical, really. I suppose if it just turned for the worst. But
yeah, yeah. I think they've done a pretty good job with it in general so far.
yeah, I
Um,
think Adam's has been brilliant, hasn't he? Throughout the whole thing, I think the NBA have just been clear and have left the door open for as many possibilities as they can.
they've been much better than other bodies. We don't have
Definitely.
enough days of recording time to talk about the mistakes that other leagues have made with trying to deal with this situation. But I think the only mistake has been this uncertainty over the coaches, which they seem to be trying to address now. And the older coaches, he said some misplaced words, didn't he, about whether the older coaches would be allowed in. Um, that remains to be seen whether they're allowed in or whether they choose to go or what, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not just ages. It's just if you're deemed in the sort of vulnerable category, then are you gonna risk going into the bubble? Are you safer in the bubble than you are at home? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's just an individual call for each of them. Um, is Popovich, D'Antoni, Alvin Gentry are the ones that have been spoken about a lot, but there are some others, I think. But like you said, it's health conditions as much as age, really. Um,
yeah. I think we're
yeah,
gonna have to wrap up now. Uh, on that note, and hopefully we can do some more of these and get back to some more regularity in the next few weeks, and definitely when the season's back. Um, so yeah, goodbye, everyone. Right, yeah. See you next time, I guess.